There is a window opening tonight. A real, measurable, and astronomically verified corridor of time that most people will scroll right past without ever knowing it existed. The sky is doing something it has not done in over 160 years. Not a variation of something it has done before, not a close approximation. The exact convergence, the precise stacking of planetary forces, the exact degree, the exact configuration, has not been assembled in this way since 1861, since the world was being torn apart and rebuilt from its bones. And here you are, watching this. Which means something in you already knew to pay attention. You felt it before you could name it. That low hum in the chest that started a few days ago. That restlessness you could not locate. That urge to stop what you were doing and get very, very still. That was not anxiety. That was recognition. Your nervous system is older than your conscious mind. And it registered this before the rest of you caught up. Tonight at 7 degrees and 46 minutes of Taurus, the sun and moon are aligning in a new moon that is also a super new moon, meaning the moon is at perigee, the closest orbital point to Earth it reaches in its monthly cycle, closer than usual, heavier than usual, more precise in its pull. You can feel a super new moon in your body before you ever read about it in a chart, in the tightness at the base of your skull, in the jaw you have been clenching without knowing why, in the strange, inexplicable urge to eat something warm and dense and grounding, or conversely, to stop eating entirely and just breathe. These are not coincidences. These are biological responses to a real gravitational event. And tonight that event is happening inside one of the most charged skies in a century. You did not stumble here, you were guided here, and before this window closes, you need to understand what is actually happening. Before this window closes, you will understand 3 things. First, what this new moon actually is, why it is rare, and why the planetary configuration surrounding it has not been witnessed in any living person's lifetime. Second, which 4 signs are carrying the heaviest charge of this moment, what it is specifically demanding of each of them, and why the signs caught in this fixed cross are being asked to make choices that will echo for the next 6 months, if not longer. Third, the specific practice, grounded, physical, and precise, that transforms this lunation from a moment of pressure into a moment of planting. Not a visualization, not a generalized intention, a ritual with steps, timing, and a specific object designed to work with the earth energy of Taurus and anchor what you want to build into something that can actually hold. Stay with this. Do not skip ahead. Everything in this script is sequenced for a reason, and if you arrive at the ritual without the context, you will be performing the motion without the meaning. The meaning is what makes it work. Begin there. Begin at the beginning. To understand what tonight means, you need to understand what has been building underneath it for the last 6 months. Because this new moon did not arrive alone, it arrived at the end of something, at the culmination of a pressure campaign that has been running since November of 2024, when Mars and Pluto first locked into opposition across the sky. Mars in Cancer, Pluto in Capricorn, and something cracked. Something that had been holding together by sheer willpower finally showed its fault lines. Then it happened again in January of 2025. Mars retrograde in Leo, Pluto direct in Aquarius, the second opposition. And if you think back to January, to what surfaced in your life, in your body, in your relationships, in your sense of direction, you will recognize the thread, the same wound, the same question, the same locked door. And then last night, April 26th, 2025, it happened for the 3rd and final time. Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, exact opposition, the 3rd strike of something ancient and enormous. 3 times the universe presented the same lesson. 3 times it asked the same question in a louder and louder voice. And tonight, the new moon lands directly at the midpoint of that opposition, forming what astrologers call a T-square with a fixed grand cross extension, a configuration of maximum tension and maximum potential occurring in the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, the 4 pillars of the zodiac that govern what we build, what we protect, what we transform, and what we collectively evolve into. Fixed signs do not bend, they endure, they hold, they accumulate. And when maximum pressure is applied to all four fixed pillars simultaneously, what happens is not a breaking. What happens is a crystallization, like carbon becoming diamond under geological force. The pressure does not destroy the structure. The pressure defines it. But here is what makes tonight categorically different from any other new moon in recent memory. It is not just the Mars-Pluto opposition. It is not just the supermoon proximity. It is what is happening at the outermost edges of the solar system simultaneously. Neptune has entered Aries for the first time in 165 years. Neptune, the planet of collective dreams, of dissolution and vision, of the myths that hold civilizations together, has crossed the threshold into Aries, the sign of individual will, of the pioneer, of the instinct to move before the path is clear. The last time Neptune was in Aries was 1861. The world was fracturing along every possible fault line. The stories people had told themselves about how things work, about power, about worth, about who deserves stability and who does not, those stories were being torn apart and rewritten at the cellular level of culture. Neptune in Aries does not ask gentle questions. It burns the old map, and it says, now navigate by instinct. Now build something real in the direction of what you believe. Not what you were told to believe. What you, in the silence of your own body, actually know to be true. Tonight, on the same night that Neptune begins that 165-year journey through Aries, the new moon plants a seed in Taurus, in the sign of Earth, of permanence, of the physical world that your hands can touch and your feet can stand on. This is not chaos. This is calibration. This is the universe establishing at the most foundational level what will be built in the years to come. And it is asking you, specifically, directly, in the language your body speaks before your mind can interfere, what do you want that structure to be? Venus, the planet that rules this new moon, because Venus rules Taurus, is sitting in her final days in Pisces at the moment of the lunation, exalted, graceful. Conjunct Saturn and the North Node in the late degrees of Pisces. This is not an accident. The ruler of tonight's moon is sitting next to the planet of commitment and the point of collective destiny, in a sign of spiritual completion. She is saying, the dreaming phase is done. The grieving of what did not work is done. What happens in the next 48 hours, in the decisions you make, and the intentions you set, and the words you speak aloud, will carry the weight of that Saturnine commitment. Not pressure, weight. In the way a seed carries weight, in the way a foundation stone carries weight. Dense with purpose, dense with potential, dense with the thing that does not move when the wind comes. This is the context. Hold it. And now move into what it means for you specifically, for the place in your chart and your life where Taurus lives, and where this moon is landing with the full force of everything that has been building since November. The four signs that are carrying the heaviest charge of this night are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, and each of them is being asked something different, something precise, something that cannot be answered in a general statement or a soft affirmation. Each of them is being asked to choose, and the choice will matter in ways that do not become fully visible until the full moon in Scorpio on May 12th, when what was planted tonight either takes root or does not. If you are Taurus, and this includes your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, and any personal planet you have in the early degrees of Taurus, then tonight is not a gentle invitation. It is a direct address. The new moon at 7 degrees Taurus is landing in your solar first house, the house of the self, the body, the face you show the world, the ground from which you grow. A new moon in the first house is a total reset. Not a renovation, not a remodel, a reset of the foundation. And because this particular new moon is accompanied by a fixed grand cross, the reset is not soft. It is not gradual. It has the quality of a controlled demolition, precise, intentional, and irreversible. What Taurus has been carrying for the last 6 months has been a particular and exhausting kind of weight. The weight of being the stable one. of holding the shape of things while everything around them shifted, of performing continuity when internally the terrain was anything but continuous. Taurus carries that weight quietly, even beautifully, because Taurus is constructed for endurance. But endurance is not the same as wellness. And tonight, the moon in your sign is asking the most intimate and destabilizing question available to you. What have you been tolerating in the name of stability that is actually keeping you from building the life that is genuinely yours? Not the life that feels safe. The life that is real. Taurus rules the throat, and you may have noticed in recent days a specific kind of constriction there. Words that formed and then did not emerge. Conversations that needed to happen and did not happen. A sentence living at the bottom of the larynx that has been waiting for the right moment. Tonight is the right moment. The ritual at the end of this video is designed specifically for you. It involves speaking aloud. It involves the act of giving your body permission, out loud, with sound, with vibration in the throat, to want the things you have quietly wanted for a long time. Do not skip it. If you are Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, or any personal planet in early Scorpio, this new moon is landing directly opposite your solar first house, in your seventh house of partnerships, of mirrors, of the other person who reflects back to you the parts of yourself you cannot see alone. The opposition from Taurus always asks Scorpio the same ancient question, and it is this: what are you holding on to that has already transformed, and why are you still treating it as if it is alive? Scorpio rules depth and regeneration, but the shadow of that gift is the inability to release what has already died. The attachment to intensity for its own sake. The way Scorpio can stay in a situation far past its expiration date because leaving feels like a kind of death, and Scorpio, having stared death in the face so many times, sometimes prefers the familiar grief of what is over to the terrifying openness of what could be new. Tonight, with Black Moon Lilith sitting in Scorpio and the Pluto opposition activating your axis at full force, the question your partnerships are asking you is sharp-edged and clear. Not who do I love? Not who do I need? But who actually has access to my power, and have I given that access willingly, or have I given it away one small concession at a time without noticing? The new moon in Taurus is offering you a specific gift. Taurus, your opposite sign, is the sign of self-worth, of the internal knowledge that you are enough, of the refusal to negotiate your value in exchange for proximity or security. The gift this moon is offering Scorpio is a rebuilding of self-worth from the inside out, on the axis of relationships, not by ending what is working, but by clearly naming, to yourself first, then to the other person, what you will no longer silently absorb. Write that name tonight. Keep it. Look at it again on May 12th. If you are Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, or an early degree personal planet in Leo, this new moon is squaring your axis with the full force of both the lunation and Mars, currently moving through your sign, and about to station direct on May 1st after months of retrograde. Mars retrograde in Leo has been one of the most internally combustive transits of the last year for you. It has asked you to turn inward, to examine the difference between genuine creative fire and performance. Between leading because you have something to offer and leading because you are afraid of what happens when you stop. Mars in Leo, when it is moving forward and vital, is one of the most magnificent forces in the zodiac. Courageous, magnetic, radiant with purpose. But Mars retrograde in Leo has been a furnace with a sealed door, the heat with nowhere to go. You may have felt it as creative frustration, as the sense that what you are trying to build keeps hitting a wall, as the exhausting loop of starting something, feeling resistance, and looping back to the beginning. That cycle is almost over. Mars stations direct on May 1st, 4 days from tonight. But the station is not the release. The station is the moment before the release. The new moon is the planting. And what you plant tonight will be the vision that Mars carries forward when he resumes direct motion. The specific question this moon is asking Leo is, what do you want to build that is not about being seen? What do you want to create that would still matter if no one ever applauded it? Sit with that. It is not an insult to your nature. It is the distillation of your nature into something so essential and so personal that it cannot be performed, only lived. If you are Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, or an early degree personal planet in Aquarius, you are sitting on the other end of the Mars-Pluto opposition, with Pluto now moving through your sign and simultaneously stationing retrograde on May 4th. Pluto in Aquarius is the defining transit of this era. It is the 20-year dismantling and reconstruction of collective identity, of what communities mean, of what technology does to the human nervous system, of who holds power within systems and who does not. You, Aquarius, are the sign that is meant to be ahead of the wave. And for much of the last year, you have been. But being ahead of the wave also means absorbing its full impact before anyone else even sees it coming. The exhaustion you may be feeling is not personal failure. It is the specific fatigue of a sign that processes collective information through an individual body. Tonight, the new moon in Taurus, your opposite sign, the sign of the physical, of the embodied, of the tangible, is asking you the most important question available to you right now. It is asking, when is the last time you came back into your body, not into your ideas, not into your framework for the future, into your physical body, into the sensation of your feet on the floor and your breath in your lungs and the weight of your own bones in the chair where you are sitting. Taurus wants you to come home to your body tonight, because the structures you are meant to help build in the coming months, and Aquarius, you are meant to help build them, that are woven into your design, cannot be built from a nervous system that is perpetually 3 steps ahead of the present moment. Ground. Rest. Eat something nourishing. Sleep longer than you think you need to. And then, when Mars begins moving forward again in 4 days and Pluto turns retrograde in 7, you will be resourced for what comes. If you are a different sign, Aries, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, Libra, Sagittarius, Capricorn, or Pisces, this moon is still working in your chart, still landing in a specific house, still activating a specific area of life. But the pressure of the fixed Grand Cross is not centered on your axis in the same way. For the other 8 signs, this new moon is an opportunity dressed in ordinary clothes. An invitation to plant something real in the house where Taurus lives in your chart, without the weight of being at the crossroads. Use that. The ritual at the end of this video works for every sign. Do not wait to be called. This is what you need to avoid in the next 48 to 72 hours. While the new moon window is still open and the Saturn-Venus conjunction is crystallizing intent, the first thing to avoid is the financial impulse. Taurus rules money, and the energy of this lunation can create a compulsive pull towards security, seeking through acquisition. The Mars-Pluto opposition underneath the new moon is aggressive. It has the quality of urgency, of things feeling suddenly non-negotiable. If you feel a sudden, sharp certainty that you need to make a large financial decision right now, buy the thing, sign the lease, move the money, pause. For at least 24 hours. The urgency is the Mars-Pluto signature. The Taurus moon wants you to move slowly and solidly, not quickly and reactively. Wait until you can feel the difference between genuine readiness and the false confidence that comes from a pressure spike. The second thing to avoid is the confrontation that has been building. If there is a power struggle in your life, with a partner, a superior, a family member, a system, the Mars-Pluto energy will make it feel uniquely urgent to resolve it tonight. To have the conversation, to draw the line, and while the confrontation may genuinely need to happen, the energy around it tonight is raw, in a way that makes surgical precision almost impossible. You can say the right thing with the wrong energy and cause damage that takes months to repair. Write the conversation down instead. Get precise about what you actually want the outcome to be. Wait until Mars stations direct on May 1st. Then have it with the full force of forward motion behind you. The third thing to avoid is what might be called the inflation trap. Mars in Leo creates a potent, but occasionally deceptive, sense of invincibility. I can do this, I can do it all, I can push through. And you may feel that tonight. An energetic spike, a sudden clarity, a sense of momentum. Welcome it. But do not let it borrow against tomorrow. This particular energy is followed, often within 24 to 48 hours, by a somatic crash that feels disproportionate to what you actually did. Do not overextend. Protect your energy with the same seriousness with which you are setting your intentions. One without the other is a vessel with no hull. The fourth thing to avoid is speed inside the ritual itself. This is a Taurus moon. Taurus is the sign of the bull who will not be rushed. The sign of the orchard, not the instant harvest. If you move through the ritual at the end of this script quickly, checking the box, doing the steps without inhabiting them, you are asking the wrong kind of thing of this energy. The ritual requires slowness. It requires 3 full minutes of stillness before anything else happens. If you cannot offer that, if you cannot find 3 minutes tonight to stand barefoot on the earth and breathe, then the conditions are not yet right, and you should wait until they are. Taurus has no interest in being hurried. And now, the practice. The practice that takes the enormous gravitational and astrological pressure of this night and gives it a physical home, a place to land, a container that holds it. This is what you do. After sunset, not necessarily at the exact moment of the new moon, which occurred at 3:31 p.m. Eastern today, but in the evening hours, when you can be quiet, go outside. If you have access to earth, grass, soil, stone, put your bare feet on it. If you do not, open a window and face the direction of the sky. Stand still, not sitting, standing. This is important. Taurus is a sign of standing firm, of the body as a pillar, of weight distributed through the legs and into the ground. Stand still for 3 minutes, not 2, 3. Set a timer if you need to. Breathe through the nose only. And as you exhale, imagine the breath traveling down through the center of the body, through the hips, through the legs, and out through the soles of the feet into the ground beneath you. Do this with each breath for the full 3 minutes. You are establishing a line, a vertical axis of connection between the sky above and the earth below, running through your body. You are the conduit tonight, not the supplicant, the conduit. After 3 minutes, hold something green or copper in your hands. A coin, a plant, a piece of malachite or rose quartz, a copper ring, something physical, something with the material frequency of Venus and Taurus. Hold it between both palms and feel the weight of it. Stay with that weight. Let it remind you that things can be real, that physical things exist, that your life is happening in a physical body, in a physical world, and that what you build here matters. Then go inside, or sit outside if you are able, and write one thing, not a list. One thing, the one structure you want to build in the next 6 months. Not a wish, not a dream, a structure, a financial foundation, a health routine that you maintain for 6 consecutive months, a creative practice with a regular time and a regular commitment, a relationship container with boundaries that hold, a career shift with specific steps. Whatever it is, it must be material enough to touch, specific enough to measure, and real enough that if someone asked you how you would know when it was built, you could answer them. Write it in the present tense, as if it already exists. Not I want to, not I am going to, I have, I am, this is. Write it that way, then fold the paper 3 times, folding toward you, drawing the intention in rather than away. Place the folded paper under a potted plant, or inside a bowl of salt, and leave it there, unopened, until May 12th, the full moon in Scorpio, when what you planted at this new moon will show you its first visible growth. Then stand up, still standing, and speak aloud with your voice. 1 sentence of permission. Do not whisper it. Do not think it. Speak it. The throat is the Taurus organ. The voice is the Taurus gift. The throat has been tight for days because something in you has been trying to say something. Let it say this: I am allowed to want stability. I am allowed to want a life that holds me. I am allowed to build something real. Whatever variation of that sentence is true for you, in your words, in your body, say it out loud. Once is enough. But mean it. Feel the vibration of it in the chest, and the throat, and the skull. That vibration is the planting. That vibration is the seed going into the soil. That is the moment. Do not underestimate it. If you made it here, if you watched this far, if your instincts brought you to this video, on this particular night among all the nights of the year, then you already understand on a level beneath language that this window is real, that what is happening in the sky tonight is not symbolic in the soft and optional way. It is symbolic in the oldest way, in the way that the seasons are symbolic, in the way that a solstice is symbolic, in the way that every civilization that ever built something lasting looked up at the same sky you are looking at right now and asked the same question you are asking, which is, what do I plant here, and how do I make it hold? You are part of that lineage tonight. Every human who ever stood on the earth and felt the pull of the moon in their body and decided to use that pull rather than be swept by it, you are in that line. This new moon in Taurus is your moment to take the immense pressure of everything that has been building since November, the Mars-Pluto cycles, the restructuring of values, the dissolution of old myths, the terror and excitement of Neptune crossing into Aries for the first time in 165 years, and put it somewhere specific. Not into fear, not into frantic action, into one sentence of permission, into one written intention, into 3 minutes of standing still on the earth in the dark and knowing in the marrow of your bones that you are allowed to stay, that you are allowed to build, that the desire for permanence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is in fact the oldest form of courage available to a human being in a world that keeps insisting everything must always change. Because not everything must change. Some things must be planted, some things must be tended, some things must be allowed to grow at the speed of roots, invisible for months, then suddenly, all at once, unmistakably there. What you plant tonight is that kind of thing. Plant it with care. Protect it for the next 30 days. Watch what emerges by May 12th, and if this video found you when you needed it. If something in this content landed in your body the way it was meant to, share it with someone else whose instincts might be calling them to this same window. The moon does not illuminate only one person at a time. It lights the entire field at once. You are not meant to move through this alone. Come back here, stay close. The sky is going to keep moving in ways that matter this year. And the ones who know how to read it, and more than that, how to work with it, are the ones who build something that lasts.